Hello, good evening. My name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again. I don't know about you, but I've barely stopped smiling today after yesterday's incredible game at Wembley. Incredible result, of course, in the end. It wasn't the greatest game of football, maybe, but we will talk about that. Wasn't going to necessarily do a show tonight. I've got another show later on about the new Premier League season, but couldn't let last night's final pass without having a show about it. We have got Andreas with us as well, who's been with us throughout. This is going to be the final Euros 2022 Daily Live. This will be the last time we'll play this intro as well, so enjoy while you can.
We'll be alright with Ellen White. Take the lead with Beth Mead. Williamson gets the job done and Lauren Hemp is heaven sent. Hear the Lionesses roar. Left foot, right foot, header. Left foot, right foot, head. I'm supporting England cause it's left foot, right foot, head.
So although the tournament is over, you can still download that song and the other one as well, which we'll play it at the end with. It is worth definitely getting because they're great songs. And obviously it's created a new bit of history as well on the pitch for the Lionesses. Joining me tonight, I said, is Andreas, of course. He's been with us pretty much throughout this tournament as well. I suppose it may be a night of mixed feelings for you in a little way, maybe, Andreas. Obviously England beating Germany, but I mean, as we just sort of mentioned off air, I suppose it was the perfect ending to the tournament, really, wasn't it?
Yes, of course. And yeah, it's strange, but I was really happy after the match. And it might sound strange because I'm German, but I have an English heart too. And I felt as if my team has won the Euros, and at the same time, I felt my team is only runners up. So of course, it makes it difficult for me that 6 or 7 Wolfsburg players are in the starting lineup for Germany. And everybody knows Wolfsburg is not my team to say this. And you would feel the same if 7 Spurs players would be in the lineup for England.
Yeah,
it would be hard for you to support them. So, and the English team has Beth and Leah, and we have Lotta on the bench. Georgia Stanway, who is a Bayern Munich player from the next season, and of course Fran Kirby, who I love really very much as a player due to her history. So. I saw a fantastic match and a perfect end for a perfect tournament for women's football. And you can discuss a lot of scenes, but in the end, I think the English team has deserved to win this tournament just because of all of the development to the group stage, to semi-final, quarterfinal, semi-final. Perfect distribution, a team that was very good in defense, but was creating chances, was dominant, and always so positive in the way they played, in the way they acted. So they deserved winning this tournament at home, and I think the effect for the WSL will be enormous, and couldn't be better than this. And congratulations to the Lionesses. And as I said, I feel as if my team has won the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much couldn't lose because you're in the final yesterday, I suppose, when you're thinking it. But no, I mean, it was a great occasion, and that's, for English football, it was fantastic, and the tournament itself has been unbelievable, actually. The support from the fans, and the way that, as you said about the England team, the way that as the tournament's gone on, you got more and more belief that this team could actually go on and win it. And, for English football, we haven't won anything for 56 years. And, I've had a few conversations with people that say, "Oh, it doesn't really count because it's the men's team that went 56 years." No, English football hasn't won a trophy for 56 years. This is English football, and this is elite English football, and we've won a trophy, so it does count. It is no different to the men winning it. If the men have won it last year or the men win the World Cup, it's exactly the same. The women have won a trophy for English football, and it's been a long time. The women have never won one before, and we've waited a long time to see an English captain go up and lift a trophy. And it was an amazing experience to finally see that. In my lifetime, I've never seen it before because I wasn't born in '66, unfortunately. So it's the first time I've seen, and the fact it was an Arsenal player that was captain of the team and went up to get that trophy. That was actually I felt quite emotional at that moment. I felt emotional at the end when she was crying, when she was hugging her teammates and everything else, and to see her go up and get that trophy, Leah Williamson, and it's just incredible. That was an incredible feeling, actually, to know that we've watched her development at Arsenal over a number of years, coming through the youth team, and to now be captain of an England side that has broken that long run without a trophy, and to go up and lift it. That was probably the highlight of the whole tournament for me. And it was something that I know we spoke about before, and the possibility that Leah could be lifting a trophy, but I never actually believed it would really be possible, because England don't do that. It's not what we do in football. We don't win trophies. We always end up failing or losing, especially when it comes to playing Germany. The history speaks for itself. So yeah, it was an amazing moment, and fully deserved as well. I thought Leah Williamson had a magnificent tournament. I thought she was brilliant anyway. She was a great captain. But as Serena rightly says, you don't single out players. It's a team effort, and it was a team effort, a squad effort, in actual fact. Every single one of those players has played a big part in it, and they all deserve massive amount of credit. And hopefully, as you mentioned, the impact on the WSL, already I'm starting to be a little bit worried that the first game of the season away at Manchester City is going to be sold out. I'm not going to get tickets, which is great for women's football, but it's not so good for me, because I want to go and see it, because you've got pretty much 2/3 of the England squad will be there that day playing, because Man City have got a lot of the players, we've got a few. So but yeah, it is going to be a fantastic going forward now, English football, I think so. Terry's in the chat. He said, "Good evening, Richard and Andreas." And I sort of promise I won't take the mickey that we outplayed your fouling and the ref in a German shirt. I mean, I want to talk about the game a little bit, because Germany were very, very physical, wasn't they? I mean, it reminded me a little bit of, you mentioned Wolfsburg before. It reminded me a little bit of that Champions League game against Wolfsburg, because that's exactly how they played against us in the Champions League, wasn't it? They were there to disrupt the play, stop us from getting a rhythm, committing lots of silly little fouls that wasn't necessarily in dangerous areas of the pitch most of the time. And they did that throughout the game, really. And it was quite frustrating from a perspective of enjoying the game, because it was free kick after free kick, and it was, and then I think England started the same as well. We started going down the same route, and we were committing fouls on the German players, and it became a little bit scrappy at times. I mean, I know I've watched a few Germany games, that they haven't always played like that in a lot of the games. Was it because, they knew that the test that England were going to provide, and maybe they felt that was the best approach in this particular game? Or do you think that was, I know they are a more aggressive team than most of the other teams in the tournament, and certainly more aggressive than England generally. Is that something that they generally have been playing anyway before this tournament?
I would say not before the tournament, but the performance of the German team in the last qualifiers or in the friendly match were not so good. This was not a team. They used the 2 or 3 weeks before the tournament to grow as a team, and their appearance in group stage and in the whole tournament was a lot more physical than I knew them before. And of course, you can make it on Lena Oberdorf. Nothing against her qualities, but all the time when I see her play, I think she should get booked in the first half, in the first 20 minutes, and then she has to change the way she plays and show how good she is as a football player. But in the first half, there were at least 3, 4, 5 attacks from her where she knew that there were, let's call it, little fouls, also just to prevent the English team from getting forward, from playing with their pace. And she knew that. She does it as long as she's not booked. And around the 30th minute, I think there was a yellow card for Georgia Stanway and was it Ellen White within a few minutes. And I was sitting there and thought, it's impossible that they get 2 yellow cards and Lena Oberdorf isn't yet booked. So this is not the way I like the Germans to play, but it's Wolfsburg style. And of course, if you have 7 players from one team, they are dominant in the team, and it's their style of playing. finally she was booked in second half, Lena Oberdorf. And then you saw there was no danger that she made more and more fouls. She knows exactly what to do. Yeah. So and I can't understand the critics now in German newspapers today against the referee, because I think especially in the first half the referee was more on German side, and there were a lot of
she was lenient towards German fouls, I thought, in the first half particularly. Yeah, she was very lenient. And I say I was amazed when Georgia Stanway got booked her first foul, and by that point I think Oberdorf and also was it the left back as well had fouled Beth Mead about 4 times and hadn't been booked, and she finally got a booking just before half time. But it's like it didn't seem to make sense that Germany were allowed to do 4-3 fouls each player, whereas we had 1 and got booked straight away, and I was amazed. And then Ellen White got booked, as you said, straight after. So yeah, I mean, has the German press been quite negative about? I know I've seen a few things saying about that possible handball and this, that, and the other. Has the German press been quite negative about it then, or have they been sort of maybe praising England as well?
Yes, it's different. Of course, the Bild Zeitung, if you know them, they are always with big headlines, and so they wrote another fraud at Wembley, and like in '66. The referee took away the winning that we deserve. I can't understand this, and this is the wrong behavior after such a tournament. It's I have no understanding for this, and you also have to say the German players. There was no protest on the pitch against this handball situation. Of course, the coach Martina Voss-Tecklenburg afterwards, when she saw the pictures, she said, "Oh, this was handball. It should have been a penalty." But today they were welcomed in Frankfurt, and some of the players were interviewed, and none of them said, "Oh, this was fraud" or something. They all said, yeah, you could give a penalty in this situation. And that's my opinion too. You could give a penalty. But the VAR checked it, and he or she decided, well, it could be a penalty, but no, Leah Williamson had no chance really to react or to take away her hand. She didn't try to get with her hand to the ball, but she tried to get away. But what she was trying was to clear the situation, and therefore, I think, you could give it. It would be a hard decision, but it was in the 20th or 25th minute. So you can't say this was the situation which decided the match. I don't understand the Bild Zeitung writing such things, because once again, players and the coach were just reacting fair after the match, and especially today.
Yeah. I mean, I there's been a little bit of that in the tournament, hasn't there? About Spain were the same, weren't they? After we beat Spain, they were complaining about a foul in the lead up to our goal, and at the end of the day, yes, you could say some decisions have been a little bit strange by referees in this tournament, and I don't think anyone could argue with that. But I think overall, I thought yesterday, I didn't think the referee was particularly good. I've got to be honest, overall, but it definitely wasn't a case of a decision by the referee or anything else that ultimately decided the result of the game. The game was decided by the fact that England scored 2 goals and Germany scored 1. And I think overall it was probably a fair result. Yes, Germany had a really good spell, didn't they, at the start of the second half. We couldn't get out of our own penalty area for quite a spell at the beginning of the second half. I mean, I thought the substitution of Wasmuth coming on made a big difference actually to Germany going forward. I mean, obviously the big story, I suppose, was obviously Alex Popp, wasn't it? Pulling out in the warm-up. I mean, wow. I didn't hear any news about that. Obviously, I've seen the team with obviously Alex Popp in the starting lineup, as you would expect. And then suddenly the teams have come out. I've seen the national anthems. I'm thinking, why isn't Alex Popp in that lineup? What's happened? And then we found out, obviously, she picked up an injury. I mean, that was a massive shock, wasn't it? I mean, you must have been as surprised as we were when we found out she wasn't playing. Do you think that to me was probably the biggest thing that decided the outcome more? Because I think it would have been a totally different game, because Germany would have prepared for Popp being playing, wouldn't they? England would have prepared for her being playing as well. So Germany would have had to have changed a lot of things about their approach to the game, I think, without Alex in the team. Do you think that was perhaps the most significant thing against Germany on the day, as opposed to decisions by the referee or anything else?
It definitely had an influence on the match, because Alex Popp makes a difference. You can't say she would have scored. Maybe not, but her presence, her physical playing, her leadership, this makes a difference, and it makes a difference for the own team, but also for the opponent. And today I heard that she picked up a muscular problem the day before the match, and they tried everything, but they kept it silent, didn't say anything about it, and the idea was to bring her to the lineup and everything, and then in the warm-up see whether it works or not. And after the warm-up, she went to the coach and said, it makes no sense, I can't pass, I can't shoot. And then she was out of the squad for the match, so she couldn't even come in as a sub. For her, Lea Schüller played, and Lea Schüller was yesterday announced as player of the season in Germany.
In Germany,
So it's a top striker, and she won the Golden Boot in last season in Germany. It's a top striker, so it's difficult to say if Alex Popp had played, would she score? Would Germany have won? That's football. Sometimes you miss good players due to injury. Would have Spain won the tournament if Alexia Putellas didn't?
Exactly. No, you're right.
You can't say this, but you have to deal with this situation, and this was what Alex Popp and Martina Voss-Tecklenburg said today in Frankfurt. You have to deal with such a situation. It was pity especially for the player, for Alex Popp, but the situation was as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I wasn't too disappointed from an England perspective when she wasn't in the team, because it made it a slightly easier task. Not that it was an easy task, but slightly easier without her in the team. But obviously, from a perspective of the fact you want the best players playing in the big games, don't you? And it was a shame for the game that she wasn't fit to play. I do feel as though it had an influence. Yeah, we don't know what would have happened if she'd played, whether the result would have been different or not. We'll never know that, because she didn't play and she wasn't fit, so we'll never know. And unfortunately, injuries can happen. England were lucky throughout, didn't get any injuries, played the same team all the way through. A couple of COVID cases of players that wasn't in the starting 11, so it didn't really have that much impact, perhaps. And England were maybe fortunate. Although, is it fortunate, or is it just good work behind the scenes for the fitness people and all that kind of stuff? Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it was a shame for the game. It was a massive shock. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, wow, this is the biggest shock of the tournament. The fact that she wasn't playing when, everyone was building it up as, Pop against Mead and all this kind of stuff for the Golden Boot. And the good news was, I suppose, it meant that Beth Mead had won the Golden Boot before the game kicked off, because she was ahead on assist and she couldn't be caught by anybody else really, unless Russo came on and got a hat trick, I suppose. So it's pretty much guaranteed that she would get the Golden Boot. So that was quite a nice touch. Maybe took the pressure off her a little bit, although of course she got injured during the game and had to go off. Terry in the chat there says West Ham say they won the World Cup, but Arsenal won the Euros and Golden Boot and player of the tournament. Indeed, they did. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal take a lot of credit for that, because the two players in Arsenal that played in every game had the biggest influence, didn't they? The captain and the player of the tournament and the top scorer. Brilliant. I mean, it's been a brilliant tournament for the Arsenal girls, isn't it? Raz is in the chat and he says but the behaviour by Chloe Kelly was disgusting, showing her sports bra when kids were there. Well, I'm pretty sure kids have seen a lot worse than that in their time. I mean, it was an iconic celebration, wasn't it? Because there was one back in, was it 1999 at the World Cup, a similar celebration for a winning penalty. So it was a kind of a nod to that kind of iconic moment in women's sports. So I don't think it was, it was unusual. It doesn't happen very often. Sam Kerr did it as well, didn't she, when she scored for Chelsea in the WSL last season, a last-minute winner. So, you could understand the excitement. And I didn't see any major issue with it. It was just unusual that it happened. It wasn't a big deal, I didn't think, really. And an iconic celebration for women's football, which is the most important thing, and that's what we need to take from it, really. Terry's talking about the referee. She even tried to give a penalty for Mary Earps using her hands. Thank God for VAR. Oh, yeah, the referee. We talked about that. We're not really too happy about that, I suppose. Her performance there. Raz says Leah Williamson was crap yesterday. Well, I don't think she was crap yesterday at all. I thought she had a good game. She had a good tournament. I don't think any of them were. I think that's a little bit harsh on any of the players, really. I thought Leah Williams had a decent game. She was solid. She was calm on the ball. Yes, everybody was nervous. Both teams were. It wasn't the greatest game of football. Let's not try and kid ourselves. It wasn't. It wasn't the best game of the tournament. It doesn't matter. It's a final. You're nervous. You just got to try and do what you have to do to win, and that's what we did. Baz also says there, Germany, Spain, and France are way better than England. Well, that's fun, isn't it? Because England beat Germany and Spain, and Germany beat France. So you would imagine by that reasoning they're not better than England. But we'll see in the World Cup, won't we? Because it's the World Cup next year. So we'll see exactly how good this England team are. But England haven't lost a game for 20 games. So, which is a longer run than Germany, Spain, or France have had. So I would say that on all that basis, we are better than all of those teams, and we won the trophy. So that kind of suggests that we were the best team in the tournament. We won every single match. So, I mean, I don't know how you can come up with the fact that we're not the best team anyway. Terry says, we beat one of the best teams in the world and we're Euro champions. No one can take that away. Exactly, yeah, we did beat. Well, we beat two of the best teams in the world, because Spain as well. And in fact, if you look at Sweden, they're ranked 2 in the world. So actually, we beat 3 of the best teams in the world in the quarterfinal, semi-final and final. And we did it in different ways. All 3 games were very different England performances. And I thought yesterday, once again, the thing that impressed me most was this team finds a way to win games when you're not thinking it's likely to be the case. I mean, Germany had a really good spell in that second half. Then we got the goal from nothing almost. Brilliant ball from Kira Walsh. I mean, wow, what a pass that was. I would say that's the assist of the tournament, that coming in the final. And what a finish as well from Tooney, chipping it over the keeper. Brilliant goal. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, it might be our day. And then Germany scored 12 minutes to play, and to be honest, I kind of felt that had been coming for the previous maybe 5 or 6 minutes anyway. Germany had a lot of pressure in our half of the pitch. They've been, we looked a little bit shaky. Millie Bright had made 1 or 2 mistakes, and you're thinking the pressure was getting to us. Germany scored, and at that point you're thinking again, it's like, is it going to be another case of England not being able to finish the job when we get as far as we can? But I mean, I thought in extra time, I don't know what Serena said before extra time started, but I thought we were the better team in extra time, as we had been against Spain. And, the goal was scrappy, a bit like the game, really, wasn't it? A scrappy goal to win it, unfortunately, but it kind of summed up the game, didn't it? Chloe Kelly in the right place at the second attempt, managed to kind of stretch her leg out and force it in. So it was a scrappy goal. But, yeah, I mean, I thought England just shows what we've done throughout this tournament, and even before, we have found ways to win games. We're not going to allow ourselves to be beaten. For some reason they can do it, and I don't know how. It's the players, it's the coach, it's everything. I mean, Serena has to take a lot of credit for me, because you can see the difference. A lot of these players have played. Yes, there's a few new players in the squad that haven't played in the previous couple of tournaments, but a lot of the players have. And the difference for me, the biggest difference, hasn't necessarily been the players. Yes, there's been some great players come in, but I think it's the whole organisation of the whole group, and that goes down to the manager. I think she's done an incredible job, and she deserves massive amount of credit. I know she doesn't want any; she wants to give the credit to the players, and rightly so. But I personally think she deserves a lot of credit. I mean, what have you made of Serena? Because she's won the Euros twice in a row now. That's no one's ever won it with 2 separate nations before. She's done it twice in a row. I mean, and she got to the World Cup final in between as well, don't forget. So, her record is unbelievable. And I believe we've got a better squad of players than Holland had in the last couple of tournaments. The World Cup next year. I mean, what are your thoughts on Serena? Because she's been, for me, amazing. A remarkable job that she's done. I mean, what an amazing coach she is. I don't know how she does it, but it's incredible.
Yeah, she made the difference, and the belief, the confidence the players have in themselves. This comes from Serena. It has not too many changes in the squad. A few additions she made, but the spirit in the team and this belief in the possibility to find solutions for every situation in a match. This is new in this team. I think last year in let's say September, October, England wouldn't have won this tournament.
No.
Probably they would have gone out against Spain. And at least lost the final. But now there is always the belief we are able to find a solution. We are able to react to situations we never had before. And against Spain, we were 1-0 down and 6 minutes left to play. Against Germany now, 1-0 in the lead, and then 11 minutes before the end, getting the equalizer. This was also a new situation, a difficult situation to deal with, and they rearranged. They found a solution for this, and then in extra time, there was the belief we can win this in extra time, and this is due to Serena. I don't know how she does it, but she gives this belief to the team, and the way she brings the subs in. She always changed matches when it was necessary with bringing in the right substitutes. And yesterday, the substitutes decided the match. Germany had the subs in too, but Wasmut or Anyomi weren't good enough. It was only Sidney Lohmann who was very dynamic in midfield with ideas, but the English subs, Ella Toon, Chloe Kelly, and Alessia Russo, even if she didn't score yesterday, they changed the match. And this is all due to perfect team management. And team management, that's the coach, the manager. So a lot from this title goes to Serena Wiegmann.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it does. I think she has been fantastic, and I agree. I think last year, if this tournament had been played last year, we wouldn't have won it because Serena wouldn't have been in charge because she didn't take over till September, and also even if she had been just before, she wouldn't have had enough time to have got that belief into the players that she managed to get through to them in the last sort of 9-10 months that she's been there. So yeah, I think she needs to take a massive amount of credit for that. And obviously with the World Cup coming up next year, we're going to be one of the favourites, I think, to win it, because we've got not only now. I think the belief that the players had in themselves has increased massively due to Serena, and now actually winning a tournament, that belief is going to go even more. There's something they can say, well, look, we've won something now. We know how to do it. We know what's involved in the tournament. You know, we know what we need to do when there's difficult times, when there's good times, everything else. And I think that's going to stand us in really good stead, actually, for next summer's World Cup. And I'll be, really excited about that. We can we win it? I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? America and all this kind of stuff. Some great sides are going to be aren't in Europe. They're going to be playing as well. But again, what a great opportunity that we'll have with this group of players. 1 or 2 new faces might break into the squad through the season, and obviously with this coach and all our staff, I'm just so excited about where this England team can actually go. Terry says the only downside to Chloe Kelly is she's a QPR fan. Well, yeah, and she plays for Man City. That's the other downside to her. But, that's not her fault, I guess. But she's been great in the tournament. Obviously, Terry says I think our only mistake throughout the Euros is we should have rested players against Northern Ireland. We started looking tired early in the game yesterday. We did actually. I mean, I said during the game in the second half that we were starting to look very tired, and it looked as though towards the end Germany were looking stronger, weren't they? But then somehow in extra time we found a little bit more energy from somewhere. Yes, a couple of substitutions and stuff like that. But yeah, we did look tired. Was that down to not resting players? I don't know. We've had nearly a week. We had 5 days rest, didn't we, before the final? I don't know. I'm not sure if that wouldn't have been an excuse for me if we'd lost. Yes, we were tired, but Germany were tired as well. You can see in extra time they had nothing left either, did they? Germany were absolutely dead on their feet. So I think it's a tournament, isn't it? In 3 weeks you've got to play 6 games, 3.5 weeks. It's a big schedule. Everyone's got the same. And yes, we could have rotated the players, but ultimately you keep a winning team, don't you? And it worked. And the substitutions, as we said, made a massive difference. In every single game they've made a difference. It was Ella Toon from the bench scored the equaliser against Spain, kept us in it when we were going out. You know what I mean? The substitutes have all made an impact. I mean, Russo scored 4 goals coming off the bench in a tournament. Has that ever been done before? by anybody in any tournament, men or women. I'm not sure if it has. 4 goals. She didn't start one game, and she scored 4 goals in a tournament. That's incredible. And she nearly got one yesterday right at the end, didn't she? It was tipped over the bar that would have sealed it all for us. But so yeah, great management of the team by the coach, knowing when to make the substitutions. And not panicking. In a few games, it could have been easy to have panicked in certain situations, but she didn't. She made the substitutions at the right time, made the right substitutions, the right players off, the right players on, and managed it perfectly. And the reward was there for all to see yesterday, at sort of 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock time, where it was when the whistle went. Terry says, Serena is a class act. She seems to know when to make changes and doesn't make it all about her. No, she doesn't. She's always for the team, isn't she? She doesn't even like talking about individual players, because to her, it's not about individual players. It's about the collective, isn't it? And that's something that she's really instilled in the team. Not that you really need to, because I don't think this England team, they're not a team of egos anyway, are they? They're very down to earth, and they're all about the team anyway. I don't think, there's no one in that squad that stands out as a sort of player that's going to be thinking that it's about them anyway. And I think that Serena has obviously helped that anyway by the way that she's been, and it's been brilliant actually. And the final itself, I didn't think it was the greatest game of football, if we're honest. I didn't think it was anywhere near the sort of excitement in the game that we wanted, but it didn't matter. The nerves were there for all to see. But a final only means one thing, and that's a result, isn't it? How you play and whatever else doesn't really matter too much. And I think over the last it's nearly 4 weeks since the tournament started, I think England were the best team, and deserve to win the tour. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think that's been the case all the way through. I mean, it has been a fantastic tournament, hasn't it? I mean, for women's football anyway, and we've said this before, regardless of what the result had been yesterday, even if Germany had won, and fair play if they did, it still would have left that lasting impression on women's football in this country, wouldn't it? Regardless of the result yesterday, the fact that the tournament itself has been so well supported. 87,000 fans yesterday at Wembley. It could have been more actually, because there were seats available. I would have sat in one of them definitely. We would have took out a few, so it could have been even more fans if they had maybe sold the tickets in a different way. But anyway, 87,000 in a final, the biggest ever final in a Euros crowd. I mean, incredible, isn't it? That you think that, in 1966, when England last won a trophy, women wasn't even allowed to play football. They were banned from the FA. And here we go, 56 years later, they got the biggest crowd ever at a final in a European competition, and England are winning it, the women. It's just, what a fantastic statement that is, to, for women's football, in not just in England. It shouldn't just be in England. That it should be a message for the world, shouldn't it? That this is what women's football is about now in 2022. This is what women's football is about, taking it forward. And I think that's a great message, isn't it? And I think that's probably the most positive thing. Yes, winning a trophy was great, and that's fantastic. We'll never forget that. But ultimately, the what's going to come on the back of this tournament going forward, that's much more important, isn't it, for women's football as just England winning a trophy.
Yeah. Today I read one sentence that's similar to this, what you said. Women's football will never be the same again in the very best of ways. So I think this on BBC Sports where I read it. This summarizes it perfect. And the chance for the development of women's football is immense now. And I'm sure that England and the WSL will take this chance. And the English team, the English squad is still a very young squad. So chances to compete for titles, for trophies in the next tournaments are really, really big. If you look at Leah as captain, she's I think 25, 26. Then you have Georgia Stanway, 23. You have Toon, Russo, Hemp, all young players, and there are some young players behind them. So a big chance for the next tournaments. And the feeling that in England people say we won a trophy in football with the national team. It's not we won a trophy in women's football. No, we won a tournament in football, and this feeling, I think this is just great. And we are doing this show for 1 year now, and we are saying this all the time, that women's football is just fantastic to watch. It's pure football. It's technical. athletic, everything. Of course, it's not so physical like the men's football, but you don't compare in athletics or in swimming also women and men. They all do that different sports, and so this is two sorts of football, and it was just a fantastic tournament, and the atmosphere, the feeling in the country, it couldn't have been better. And so all in all, this is really great that England won this tournament.
Yeah, I think it is, and you know, and it's funny, isn't it? Because you know, everybody still talks about 1966. You know, in England we do anyway. Certainly, you know, the only thing we'd ever won. But and while that was obviously a big, massive moment in English football, I think this is even more significant because of what it's going to mean to women's football. I mean, in 1966, men's football was the top sport anyway. It always had been. So it wasn't such a big change. But this is much more important. It's a much more important moment, I think, for English football, but particularly for women's football. And I think winning this trophy is going to be a lot more significant in history than 1966 proves to be. And hopefully we'll go on from here and start winning a few more trophies, not have to wait another 56 years. We'll have to see. Obviously, you can't guarantee you're never going to win anything. It's just, you know, hopefully you do win some things here and there, but yeah, I do feel as though it's such a significant moment yesterday, and I do think, and I've seen change in people as well. People's attitudes to women's football has changed in the last few weeks, actually, from this tournament, and for me, that's the biggest positive to come out of it. You know, apart from Leah Williamson getting that trophy yesterday, it's been attitudes have started to change to women's football, and hopefully this will be a lasting impact, you know, like we said, on the WSL going forward next season. I'm sure the crowds will be bigger. It might be more difficult to get to games. It might be more difficult to get tickets. I'm start saying that first game of the season is looking quite tricky already. It's difficult to find tickets. So yeah, I mean, it's all positive, and I can't actually believe how quickly it's changed. The whole thing with women's football, because even a year ago when we started the show. A year ago, talking about women's football, it was still quite, I don't know what the right word is really, but it was still kind of quite small, really, wasn't it? You know, and in the last year, how much, even from there, it's grown massively, hasn't it? The exposure that it's got and everything else. And it feels like, I don't know, you know, what we do and what we've done hasn't been particularly significant in the overall scheme of things, but it's been really good to have been part of that journey with it, hasn't it, over the last year, to see how much it's grown, and the fact that we've been here, you know, most weeks throughout the last year talking about women's football and highlighting it and doing what we can, and to see how much it's grown. It feels quite I don't know, it feels like we have made some sort of impact, although we probably haven't, but it feels like we have, doesn't it, because of the change that's happened in the time that we've been doing this show. You know, and I think yesterday was the culmination of that, you know, and it was. And, you know, I think maybe, I don't know, the future, certainly, of football in this country, not just women's football, football in general, I think that yesterday has given it a massive boost. And hopefully we'll start to see the real, the fruits of that over the next few years, you know, in terms of international level, England competing regularly, as we have been recently anyway, but actually getting some trophies on not just once every 50 years, but more regularly winning trophies. You know, Germany have won trophies for years, haven't they? Women and the women regularly winning trophies, and that's what England should be aspiring to do. We should be looking to try to repeat that for England now. We've got one, let's try and get a few more. Gregory's in the chat here, he says, hello, choppy game, but England got it done indeed. Men or women, they are national team and deserve national sport. 100% right, exactly right. That's exactly the point, isn't it? And I looked on it the same yesterday. I wouldn't have felt any differently yesterday if it was a men's team that had won, or the fact it was a women's team. Made no difference to me. It was the England football team winning a trophy, which I'd never seen in my life. So that was the main point of it for me. That's what it meant, and hopefully that's what a lot of people felt. You know, it's not about it was the women that won it, not the men. It doesn't count. Of course it does. It's even more important that the women have won it because of where women's football has come from. So yeah, you're right. It does deserve national support. The men and the women do, and hopefully this will this is what's going to happen now, isn't it? Hopefully people will start realising that and getting behind the women's team as much as the men. You know, it would. I mean, I felt a little bit disappointed today that, you know, there was a little celebration in Trafalgar Square in London, which was great, but they should have had a bus parade, shouldn't they? Which is what they've done with the men's team before at World Cups and stuff, even we haven't won them. And they should have had an open top bus parade, shouldn't they, with a trophy through London or through somewhere. And the fact that they didn't do that today was a little bit disappointing, wasn't it? I mean, was you expecting them to maybe do a little bit more? I don't know. Did you see that Trafalgar Square celebration today? They had a bit on the telly, didn't they?
No, not yet. I hope I can see a few videos afterwards. I saw something from the welcome of the German team in Frankfurt. I think this is all new for the FA and for the German DFB. They are not used to celebrate the women's national teams, but the time is developing, and the time is the right time for this. For this tournament, it was the right time. What you said the last year, it was growing. It's also the Champions League that made an impact and made a difference in women's football. Necessary to change the Champions League, and the TV coverage of Champions League also made a difference. And so there are a lot of small pieces that fit together, and of course it was perfect that the Euros didn't happen last year. This deferral for 1 year and not being played together with the men's Euros or the Olympics, this was just perfect, and the time now was right for such a tournament. So we can be happy to be part of this development right now.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, I remember saying, I think it might have been when I watched the game against Holland, a friendly against Holland before the tournament started, saying that it felt as though for England, the stars had aligned, you know, with this team, with this coach, with the tournament being the only tournament this summer, and everybody's focus on it, or more people's focus on it than may well have been the case if other stuff was going on, and all this kind of stuff. And I felt as though it felt right. It felt like we were about to experience something special. This was before the tournament started, and that's exactly how it's turned out. And it's brilliant to have been. It's brilliant to have been a part of this tournament, actually, just to have been at games and to have enjoyed the experience of it all, the atmosphere. And yes, I'm a little bit disappointed I couldn't have been there yesterday at Wembley, because that would have just been, you know, an incredible experience to have been there, wouldn't it, for that game, for the occasion, and obviously in the end to have enjoyed all the celebrations that went with it. But yeah, I was a little bit, you know, disappointed I couldn't be there yesterday. But yeah, overall, I've enjoyed being a part of it all, being at the games. It's just been an amazing experience, and I hope that everybody who's been will want to come back. I mean, didn't was it Leah Williams who said it? Somebody said it yesterday after the game, didn't they, in an interview about, let's hope that all these fans come back for the WSL games when the season starts. We'll have to wait and see, but you know, I'm sure a lot of them will, because what's there not to like about women's football? What is there not to like? You know, from the experience of being in the stadium to the football itself, there's just nothing not to like, is there? Why would you not want to go and experience it and enjoy it and watch it? I don't understand why people say, "Oh no, I'm not going. It's women." Well, no, just do it, because it's fantastic, and I feel really, really privileged to have been able to experience a tournament live at the stadiums, and it's been, I mean, that Sweden game will live with me forever. That semi-final was just absolutely amazing night, and that will definitely, I won't ever forget that. That was great. Terry says, yeah, as if the men's team will win anything apart from the wooden spoon. Well, we'll see. They've picked up lately a semi-final and a final last two tournaments. Who knows? Maybe if we've got a decent manager, that might be the thing that, as we've seen with the women, we got to lots of semi-finals, couldn't quite make that next step. Get the right manager in, bang, we make that step. Maybe that's what the men need. Get the right manager in now while we've got the foundations in place, and who knows, maybe the men can follow suit and win a trophy in the next couple of years. Who knows? World Cup maybe. It's probably too late for the World Cup, because we'd need to get a new manager in place and give him time to actually do do what Serena's done. So I'm not sure if that'll happen. Terry says, hit the likes, people. It's free, and please subscribe. Yeah, if you're enjoying what we do, please give it a like, and please subscribe to the channel. I believe before we started, we were 15 away from 1,000. Actually, just 15 subscribers away now. Not that many at all, is it? So that would be nice to get there before the Premier League starts. Gregory says, I was expecting a bus parade. Yeah, I think Trafalgar Square was limited to 3,000 people. What's the reasons for such a small crowd? I would imagine, I don't know the reason, but I would imagine it's probably to do with control. You know, Trafalgar Square is not the biggest area, and maybe that was the maximum amount of people they could safely get there without there being issues, I suppose. I would imagine that's why. Why could they not have had it maybe in Hyde Park, where you could have had a lot more people? I don't know. These are other questions that need to be looked into. But, I mean, as Andreas said, maybe, you know, the FA, like elsewhere, maybe aren't used to dealing with a celebration for women's football. Maybe now we've had one, they'll know next time maybe we do need bigger venue for a celebration. Maybe they should have an open top bus ride, all this kind of stuff. Maybe next time, if we can be successful again, let's hope we are, they will address those issues and look at it. But yeah, it's still quite I know it seems silly to say it's a modern thing. I mean, women have been playing football for over 100 years originally, and they've been playing football again since the ban stopped in this country for like 51 years. But it's still quite a new thing, isn't it? And it's still a learning process for everybody with it, maybe, and it just needs to be looked at. Gregory says, good evening, Terry. Men that need the wooden spoon are used on their backsides. Yeah, they probably do. Yeah, well, the manager maybe does. I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it has been. I mean, just before we finish, I just really want to kind of talk about the tournament, really, and you know, first of all, I want to really thank everybody that's been out of the games doing the vlogs. You know, yourself, Andreas, obviously, Amar, Matt, Adam as well. I know yesterday his battery ended up on his phone run out, so he couldn't get a lot of stuff at the end, unfortunately. But it's been great for us. So I'm really grateful for everybody that's put in the effort and to get the content out. Obviously, the shows that we've done every day. Obviously, I know that you've been on there most days, Andreas. That's been great. I mean, Matt's been on, Amar. It's been great. You know, and obviously everyone who's watched as well. You know, a lot of people have been in the chat. You know, people have been in the chat every day. Terry, for example, you know, virtually every single show he's been coming in and commenting and stuff like that. So it's been great. So I want to thank everybody really for the support that you've given to the shows that we've done, to all you guys that's contributed to the show as well, to the vlog and everything else. It's been fantastic, actually, and it couldn't have been. You know, it's been a lot better, a lot more enjoyable than I think even I would have imagined it was going to be. I knew it was going to be great, but I mean, the whole thing's been. It's just been basically. I am a little bit sad today, knowing it's finished, and that, you know, we can't look forward to any more games or anything else, and it's a bit disappointing. But I mean, overall, Andreas, you must have really enjoyed it. Has it been maybe even more enjoyable for you than you was anticipating?
Yes, it was much better than I expected. Of course, I expected a great tournament and record attendances, good matches, everything. But this was above all expectations, and I'm so glad to be part of this journey, and part of this show, which is part of the development or the journey. So I'm really thankful to be in this. And when I remember 1 year ago, when you first asked me whether I would like to join the show, I thought I would like to, but I'm German. I'm not a native speaker. Will they accept me? Will they accept my English? Okay, I'll try. And now this adds so much more to enjoy football, and I'm really thankful to be part of this journey. And today, the German coach said we gave football its values back. I think this is also a very, very good sentence. It says a lot how people feel about the situation in men's football, that it has lost its values. And this was one who gave values back. She was absolutely right with saying this.
No, I 100% agree, and I think that it does sum it up pretty well, doesn't it? Actually, because I think that's exactly what has happened, and that's hopefully it won't lose that, because that's what makes women's football so special, doesn't it? You know, and I think that's one of the great things really. But I mean, in terms, obviously, if you've been involved in the show, I mean, you know, it's almost like now we couldn't imagine the show without you. So, you know, that you've become such an important part of it. So it's been great. It's been great that you've enjoyed it as well. And, you know, you've become such an important part of what we've been doing, and it's been great. So I say, obviously, now we will be looking forward and anticipating the start of the WSL season now, which you know, it's a few weeks away yet. There's a few games coming up with Champions League qualifiers and whatnot. So but we will be back with our usual Friday show very soon, in a few weeks' time. I'll look at once we know what's happening with the Champions League qualifier and stuff like that. We'll probably start then in the build up to the new season, obviously ahead of the kickoff, which is the 10th of September. The season actually starts. We're not playing until the Sunday, the 11th, but yeah, it's going to be a big season, isn't it, for women's football? It's going to hopefully be a big season for the Arsenal women as well. You know, if Beth and Leah can come down from this high that they've been on the last few weeks and start again, it's going to be hard to do that maybe. But there's a few weeks, isn't it? They'll be back in training. I'm sure they'll have a week off or so, and then they'll be back in training, won't they? And it'll be back to business again, won't it? As normal, hopefully. So he says Britain don't like to celebrate anything England win. Well, we don't win very much, do we? You think that we'd want to make a big deal out of it, because it doesn't happen very often, does it? I think we should have had a bank holiday today. Terry says, yes, appreciate all you lot in the chat, and a special thanks to you, Richard, Andreas, Amar, Matt, and of course not forgetting our lucky England charm, Mrs. B. Yeah, she certainly enjoyed the tournament, and she likes English football as well. So I'm sure she'll be at games next season as well, and everything else. And as Terry says there, Andreas is our own German Cockney. Indeed, he is. Yeah, which is great. And he's got his own special hotel in London as well. So there you go. So that's fine. That, you know, he rents out on a regular basis. But no, I mean, it's been a great year actually for us here doing the shows. It's been a great year for women's football. It wasn't quite the year we hoped for the Arsenal women, obviously, because we didn't quite get the title that we wanted. But the future's looking bright there as well, I'm sure. And I say it has been fantastic to see two Arsenal players play such a big, significant role in the success of the England team. I mean, it couldn't have gone any better, could it? I mean, especially Leah Williams, I say, coming through our system, you know, a youth player at Arsenal, been at the club since she was, 6 years old or whatever it is, and come all the way through to be captain of England and win and lift a trophy, the first trophy in a generation, it's incredible. Actually, I felt almost like, and I know it seems weird, I almost felt sort of proud of her, you know, as though she's part of the family. And you know, I don't even personally know. I mean, I've met her a couple of times and said hello to her, but I mean, you know, it's just weird, isn't it? How you feel like that because of the journey that we've gone on with, and really, it feels like that, doesn't it? Because of what, and the same with Beth as well. You know, Beth's been at Arsenal for a long time. We've seen her play for years. Seen her develop into the player that she is. I mean, she was decent before, but how much she's improved and all that kind of stuff. So to see those two play such a significant part of all them trophies that they've got, player of the tournament, golden boot. It was like she couldn't stop getting trophies yesterday, Beth. Could she? Going out, get one, get another one, get the main one at the end. It was just amazing, wasn't it? She had no arms left. Yeah, it's like, what do I do with them all? But it's great to see, isn't it? And it's, you know, it's unusual. I mean, I've said it before, to see Arsenal players have this much impact at international level for England. It doesn't happen very often. You know, in the men's side, we've had players win the World Cup with France and this, that, and the other, and other countries and stuff like that. You know, but to actually have two Arsenal players winning a trophy for England, never thought I'd ever see the day it happen. So that was amazing as well, and just that was the icing on the cake, really, wasn't it, for it all for me? Just seeing the success of those two players, and don't forget Lotta as well. She didn't play in the tournament, but she was there. She played a big part in the squad along there. She got a medal. I saw her medal yesterday, so she's won it as well. So, you know, brilliant for her. Let's hope that she can. That might give her a lot more confidence as well, mightn't it, going forward as well into the new season, hopefully, because I think she's going to be an important player for us. You know, and we will obviously talk about Arsenal later on when the season comes around. But yeah, it's been a brilliant. Nearly 4 weeks since we started. It's been fantastic. I've had some great moments and great memories. It's been great doing the shows, chatting about it, or watching the games on the telly, everything else. And I say yesterday got the finish that I know I definitely wanted, and I think secretly you was quite pleased, as you said, wasn't it? I know it was Germany that lost, and there's a little bit of disappointment there as well. But I don't think you would have denied England a little bit of glory for once, would you? You know, it's been we've waited a long time for it, haven't we? At the end of the day.
No, as I said, I was happy for England to win this tournament, and at the same moment I was sad for the German team, but you can't have it all and have both teams in the final. This was what I wished for for this tournament when it started, and now we're looking forward for the new season for the WSL and the Champions League. And I would say it's important that Man City qualifies for the group stage. Also, they have to go to these qualifiers, and we have to do the playoffs. So it would be important that both City and Arsenal qualify for the group stage to have 3 teams in the Champions League, just to get this momentum growing and growing. So, when you see there were 6 or 7 City players in the English squad, so why shouldn't they make it to the group stage? So, I'm already. One thing ended, the tournament ended, and I'm already looking forward to the new season, and I can't wait to start. Hopefully, we will make some new signings and then have a fantastic new season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just on that point about Man City, the only maybe downside for them is the players that's played at the Euros, which is half of their team, may not be in the team because they won't have. They need to have a holiday. They'll need to have a rest and recharge, and then start training again. Will they be ready to play in that qualification for the Champions League? That could make them suffer that maybe. I agree. It'd be nice if they qualified and we had 3 teams in it. That'd be brilliant for English women's football. And hopefully one of them, particularly one that we want, might actually go on and win it. Who knows? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, it's been nice seeing Jonas in the studio actually. In his suit and his trainers and stuff, looking cool. But a lot of the things he said yesterday, I don't know whether you managed to watch it. Obviously, I don't suppose you'd have got the BBC coverage, but a lot of what he said after the game, every time I've heard him, he makes so much sense. He understands what's needed in a game situation in women's football, and I'm actually really pleased that he's our manager. Looking at what he's done over the last few weeks on the TV work he's done, actually makes me really pleased that he's our manager because of he was the way he was talking about the games, what needed to change, the players, everything else. To me, I was so pleased. We've got Serena as England manager, brilliant. We've got Jonas as Arsenal manager, brilliant. I mean, what more could we want? The next year or so is going to be absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Well, we've got these great people in charge of our teams. Gregory says there, Beth took some really hard hits. Yeah, she did. Yeah, almost hockey-like, and all the tackles on her were nasty. Some of them were pretty nasty. Yeah, I know it's common in football to target the team's current best player, and Germany took her out of the game. Yeah, they did a little bit. She didn't have much influence in the game yesterday, did she? Because every time she got the ball, someone fouled her. Push her in the back or whatever it was, and she didn't get any flow, did she? Unfortunately. Terry says this Euros is flying by. But great entertainment by all of the teams and fans, and of course this channel. No, thank you very much, Terry. You've been entertaining as well in the chat, definitely. With some of your mad predictions, that some of them almost came true as well, which was nice. And it was good that you got your CD actually, as well. You deserve the CD, so I'm glad that Pete sorted it out. I mean, Pete's a great guy actually, Pete Drake, and I'd like to thank him as well for donating the CD to the channel, letting us use the music as well. So we didn't get copyright or anything like that. So that was great as well. And it has been good. I know Andreas has got a show to do on German channel, which is great. I've got a show to prepare for an Arsenal show at 8:00. So we will end our show here. We'll end our Euros coverage here. It's been fantastic. What a tournament. England, it did come home in the end. It was a nervy ride. It was up and down, and it was touch and go for a while, but it did finally come home 56 years after it originally came home, and 26 years after Baddiel and Skinner made the song about 30 years of hurt and it coming home, and it did finally come home. It took a long time, but we got there. Let's hope it comes home again and we don't have to wait as long. It's been brilliant. Thank you very much to Andreas, as always. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Please give it a like. I'll be back at 8:00. If you want to hear the new Arsenal shows starting, we've got our first show previewing the Premier League season, which starts this week. That is at 8:00 on the channel. So please pop back at 8:00 and join us for that. We'll play out, of course, with the beautiful game by Pete Drake. It's in the description. We may not play this on the channel again because the tournament's over. We may do just for fun. But this is a beautiful game. Thanks to everyone for watching. We'll see you soon, guys. Take it easy. Come on, you Lionesses. We are European champions. Yes. Football came home. See you later, guys. Take it easy. See you at 8:00, hopefully.
Their shin pads, hair that's rainbow laces, brand new fans and different races. Another camp with COVID cases, an England squad with brand new faces. Here we go, the summer's here. Meet your friends and grab a beer. Football's on, the beautiful game, from St. Mary's to Bramall Lane. It's just a game. It's our beautiful